Charlie, Charlie Kirky. I spot the perky. Charlie, Charlie Kirky. I just Charlie, Charlie Kirky.
Hobby husband is the winner ye.
I just got the grimace shake. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Do you want the grimace shake? Yes, it's so nutritious. If a drink would be a big mistake, why would you ever think that? They say it could put your life at stake. Once you drink it, you can go back. Happy birthday, Grimace. What is on your Amazon wish list? Give me everything you want. You're the girlfriend we're looking for. Happy birthday, Grimace. Happy birthday, Grimace. What is on your Amazon wish list? Give me everything you want. You're the girlfriend we're looking for. Happy birthday, Grimace.
Waiting for the song to end. Jeez. Play me out longer, daddy. Anyway, hi everybody. It's me, Charlie, and today's Tuesday, and I'm finally back. I took an extended break and I hated it. I hated it. That's not entirely true. I just disliked being away from you guys for that long, and not for any other reason that this is just a highlight of my day. It makes my days better, especially when I'm having really shitty days. And with the rain this weekend and the conversation I was having, I very much would have rather been on stream. If I have to talk, listen, I love interior design. I love me putting together a room, but I do not want to talk about deck like rugs. I don't want to talk about deck rugs when it's raining outside and we can't even visualize it. Like I don't want to I don't want to talk about what your Mima and Pawpaw did 16 years ago with their rug. Can we talk about video games now? Can we talk about Dungeons and Dragons now? Oh my god, like they were listening to Fourth Wing and I was like, I can't stand it. They're like in their 20s and they're acting like they're 16. And they're like, well, they're like 22 and in college. And I'm like, there's a difference. Like also, I don't understand how people are like, oh, when you're in college, like people act the same way as in high school. And it's like, no. And also, they go to a college with dragons. You would think there would be a little bit more maturity in going on a book rant. You would think there'd be like a little bit more maturity in like the book, but it's written like high schoolers who are going to a war college and can ride dragons. So that's Fourth Wing, and I hate it. If you do ever want to listen to Fourth Wing, though, I recommend Elbet on YouTube. She is a British YouTuber who does all kinds of different style vlogs, but she also does reading breakdowns, and I love her breakdown of Fourth Wing. I have been following the entire saga. She's the only way I will consume Fourth Wing material anymore. I love it. The other lady at the party was getting ready to read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I had to be like, I'm so sorry. You can borrow the books from me, but like, he's a Zionist. And they were like, what's a Zionist? And I was like, somebody who believes Israel has a right to genocide the Palestinians. And she was like, oh, fuck that. And deleted it right from the inventory. I was like, all right, well, there's some help. But that's about as far into politics as I was able to get the conversation. I tried a few times. I tried a few times. But by the time Meemaw and Pawpaw came up, and then they also started talking about their one cousin who died in her sleep, and I was like, I'm done with this conversation. I have checked out. And then they got to eating disorders, and I was like, okay, can we go home now? I don't want to talk about these things anymore. Please, thank you. I am the soberest one at this party. I barely touched any of my weed, and most of the people were pretty drunk by like 2 o'clock, 2:30. And I was like, I can talk to drunk people, but not that well. So anyway, also like my mom mode like kicks in when I see other people drinking because I want to be like, okay, hydrate. Politics talk is something I tend to stay away from. People wanted to talk about it. There was a guy who was actively like, I'm a libertarian. And like talking about stuff like that, which is fine. I have no problem with libertarians or what he was saying. There were a few things where I was like, and they tried to tell me that like even somebody who is under like the working families party or the DSA and they run on the Democratic ticket, they are still working from within the two party or working in the lines of the two party system, and there will remain a two party system. And I had to tell them, if you get more people into office that are DSA slash Democrat ticket, the next time that person's on the ticket, they're gonna go, are they Democrat or DSA? Not Democrat slash DSA. You know, the more legitimate candidates we put up, the easier it is for us to take the ticket. And the easier it is to move away from.
Christ, there's a boomer around here.
These people were older than me. Hi, Bitter. Missed you. Also, hi, Tim. Missed you. Bunches. And I want to talk more about that idea you messaged me about. Like, I want to hammer in dates and, like, figure this out because I think it could be really fun. I don't want to say anything else, but I'm very much looking forward to it. It's something I definitely want to do. Anyway, yeah, no, these people are older than me. Hi, Blue. Everybody's rolling in late. I'm glad I started yapping. I'm computing. Anyway, none of them wanted to talk about. I even tried bringing up like my book because they had brought up fantasy series that they were listening to, like Akatar and Fourth Wing, and they were like, "Well, why don't you write a fantasy novel?" And I was like, "Well, I am." And they were like, "Oh, well, what's it about?" And I was like, "Well, it's a." And then I couldn't even like muster up the energy to be like, it's about a girl who gets sent to a fantasy realm, has to figure out where she goes to go or how she gets home. And there's a bad guy. Like I was so cooked I couldn't even talk about my book. I've been chilling on my couch playing Metal Gear Solid on my PSP. Nice. I like that the boy team is back, the boy squad. I'm trying to think. I need a better nickname for the two of you because you're like two tadpoles in a pond, the two of you. You go right together. The frog squad. You guys. But you two. Okay, so there was normie talk on Saturday, and then Sunday I was hanging out with my friend who has the pool slash hot tub. We were chatting, but at that point I was so out of my social battery. There were just points where I realized I was sitting there mute. I was just staring into the abyss. Like, and sometimes the abyss was like, I don't know, the side of the pool. It was just, I even apologized to my friend. I was like, I am so sorry, but I got cooked yesterday. And I explained the same thing I just said to you guys. I was like, can we talk about anything other than like flooring? Bring out the bugs. Wait, are you guys bugs? A good one for you guys? Bitter blue bugs, bitter and blue bug, the bug squad, the bug boys, the bug boys, bug boys. And we, of course, her and I chatted about video games like immediately, and we played board games together, and that was super fun. And that was my weekend. I picked up a new 007 game today. I think Daisy just posted that too, or was that also you? Daisy said they were going live at 6:30. So hopefully one of you two will still be on when I'm logging off. I don't even know anymore. I think this heat is melting my brain. I know you guys got our weather. Like everyone is telling me like, "Oh, it's 35 here." And I'm like, "Yeah, that was last week." Welcome to New Jersey. I didn't post anything about it. I don't stream today. Okay, so then it was Daisy. I know it popped up on my phone. But I'm thinking buffering. It was too long away from you guys. It is Tuesday. I don't know. Listen, I am so off. Forgot early voting was today. I didn't know until I saw a bunch of people pulling in and out of the library. And I was like, that's weird. That's suspicious. It's so warm. Yeah, it's 95 degrees Fahrenheit over there right now. RIP you guys. If you need any suggestions on how to cool down a house without air conditioning, hit me up. I'm gonna get like Borderlands 4 or the new Lego Batman. I'm not sure which one. She was telling me about this game called Blueprints, which is almost like an escape room style game that she thought would be fun to do with you guys. I agree. I might have to look into getting that. Buffering. What was I talking about before? I hate New Jersey because of this weather. And is it humid over there though? Like, is it a dry heat or is it a wet heat? You'll know by the way it strangles you. going to eat the sun. I don't recommend that. Oh, right, the heat. So, yeah, it's been kind of cold over here this week. It was like 65 degrees. I might have to change this top. I cannot keep my straps up. Wet heat. Save at least one slice of the sun for me. Yes, sticky humidity. Just, ugh. That's what New Jersey is like. In fact, it was like that. It was kind of chilly this morning, and then it warmed up, but I could tell it was like a weird warm up. Like the wind was cold, but everything else was warming up, and then it started to get humid, and I could start to see it in the air. Like it was foggy, and I was like, "Oh, buddy, here we go." And it's been pretty hot and humid all day. About the time I got home at like 4:30, so a little over 2 hours ago, a little under 2 hours ago, I felt like this ice cold breeze.
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
Dorfidoodle is too slow.
Hi Dorothy, congratulations on being late. So I felt the cold breeze and I was like, thunderstorm. So we are probably gonna get thunderstorms tonight. I would not doubt it at all because it looks like it outside. But very. Did you eat your veggies? No sun slices until you finished your veggies? Did you know? I think I learned this from Dorothy. Did you know that or was it Matt? Was it Maddie or was it Dorothy? A vegetable is a culinary term, not a scientific term. They're all fruit. Hold on. BRB. I mean, not. Oh, man. Oh, no, it's my headphones. Better. Looking for those. How is everyone? Better now that I don't have to keep that top. Ugh, it's been brutal. Dude, oh my god, speaking of brutal, my friend just gave me like, they messaged me on Saturday. I'm gonna say Saturday. I recognize that logo. Yeah. I have a lot of the old hoodies and I'm about to donate some of the old staff shirts to the Goodwill. If you want any of the old merchandise, let me know because I have a bunch of it left over, like from my own personal collection. I have like 2 or 3 pullovers. I think I have another zip over. This one's my bigger one. I like a big hoodie. I don't know. I don't like a tight hoodie. I feel claustrophobic, but a big one. Every moron over Memorial Day weekend emailed and called in. Do you have it in a 2XL fat guy size? I'll look. Yeah, I'll look. Do you care which type it is? I'll have to go through the donation bags, but I was just about to send those too. Yeah, I'll grab whatever you want. I'll check all the 2X stuff because that's what I wear. I think that's what this. Yeah, this is 2X. You're not getting this one. I'm wearing this one. But yeah, some of them will have the staff logo on them. I think some are even like Hobby's old orange ones from when they first started. But yeah, I wanted to save a lot of the stuff. I was really sad when it closed, so this was like my way to hold on to it a little bit. But anyway, this weekend there was none whatsoever down here. Like it was a breeze. I was shocked. In fact, I sat in more traffic today driving past like the movie theater than I did all weekend. Absolutely all weekend. I think the lack of sun really just did not help my overall vibe, but I'm glad to be back. I am. Oh, I also cleaned out my bong. Hold on. It's just dirty because I took a hit off of it, but it's got like a little pinwheel thingy in it, right? And when you suck, hold on. Everybody watch me suck. All right. Yeah, wait. Not a good cloud. It's so hard to see. But the sound it makes is so nice.
Christ, there's a boomer around here.
Oh, fuck off. I was in Ventnor Heights, rainy and cold and downpouring. There were a few people that were in Ventnor. My chiropractor and her family went to Ventnor weekend or long. Just no, they stayed in Ventnor. They were coming down, and I was like, "Oh, you need like things to do?" Because they're from just outside of Philly, out near It's the guy. It's the name of like the guy that fights the vampires. Belmont, over by Belmont, or the Belmont exit off the Schuylkill. What a time to have eyes. Yeah, I know. Hold on, wait. I'll do the sound part for you because the sound is a lot better. All right, right. You hear the little jingle? It's probably just me then. All right. Hmm. Ooh. Now that I'm high, I'm trying to demonstrate for you guys. There's two things I want to talk about before we get into video gaming. One, early voting started in New Jersey today. If you are not affiliated with a party, or if you are affiliated with a party but would not like to vote for the party you're affiliated with, you may change your party affiliation at the booth. Okay? You can change your party affiliation there, same day, same time. I did it myself, okay? Did you see Hassan got indicted? No, they sent him a subpoena. Well, they sent him a subpoena. He still hasn't received it yet, as of all of the news I saw yesterday. But yes, I did see Hassan got sent a subpoena for his work in Cuba for offering humanitarian aid to the people of Cuba who are struggling due to the United States embargo and blockade on them. I think I have all that information correct. But please correct me. But also Tulsi Gabbard resigned. She she was ousted, and we all know it's just another round of purity tests that the fascists love to do before their next level of like awful shit. I usually read the news about Hassan on like Twitter or here on YouTube when I'm just scrolling. Yeah, I used to watch, I don't want to say used to watch him a lot more. I catch his stuff on the like the rewind, but for me, a lot of his talking points are things that I already know. I already believe. Sometimes I say them even before he does. I'm just a little nobody though out here in Jersey. But if her story is to be believed, I wouldn't blame her. Tulsi Gabbard, her husband being like sick with cancer. Yeah, no, that I think that's fair. I just think it was also an easy way to oust her. Um, Charlie. Oh, right. So, I how do I say this? I'm not like his target audience anymore because I already like understand the assignment. That makes sense. So like I don't tune in as much as I used to because I already feel like I understand the assignments. And I'm also limited in my capabilities of what I am able to explain to both with my own limitations of speech and my understanding of things on the larger scale because I have a limited scope on stuff, guys. I don't know if you've noticed. But I like if I need to like a refresh on something or if I need to catch up on something real quick or if there's a story that I've heard about that I want to hear more about, that's when I'll watch like a VOD. And I usually watch, hold on, I'll tell you. Sorry, microphone. That's the because there's like a specific like VOD channel. If Hassan doesn't upload it on his own, yes. Okay, it's Late Night Hassan. That's the one I watch. I like their edits and I like the way they like do their opening stuff. Like they insert a lot of the stuff very nicely in a way that doesn't feel like some of the AI fake ones. But when I need to catch up on something like that, I'll check him out. I usually check out Phil DeFranco. But like I'm no longer the target audience and I recognize that and so I'd rather make space for other people and help disseminate the information rather than sit behind a keyboard anymore. I mean, I'm technically behind a keyboard. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that was like off topic. Today is the start of early voting. You have until Saturday? It's Saturday. And you can change your party affiliation at the booth. I went from independent to Democrat. I voted the Democratic ticket. Pause chat. Let me finish my thought. I voted down the ticket. I wrote myself in for Cory Booker because fuck him. And I've told every one of my friends and anyone who knows my last name to write me in. Please. I beg you. And I voted for Mullick. Mullick was the former Cape May mayor, and I like a lot of his policies, and he's who I decided to district. And then I voted. I mean, there was not a lot of contenders in any of the races. Like, a lot of them were uncontested. And every time I look at it, I'm just like, this is so easy. There's only one other person running. I'm sure if I put my name on the ballot, they'd vote for it. They'd probably think I was a dude and vote for it. So, anyway. And then the only other person I didn't vote for is my sworn secret nemesis. I detest, and it's my Aaron Burr. Is more my Aaron Burr than Tim is my Aaron Burr. Like, Tim is my Aaron Burr from the musical. This guy is like my Aaron Burr from real life. And sure, it might lead to, my death at his hands, but I'm gonna fall on that sword, Anyway, okay, early voting, New Jersey, Mullick. I hate the DSA. They're getting really annoying. I'm tempted to not renew my membership, honestly. Like, I have gained no benefit at all. I have actually done better on my own without attaching my name to the DSA. The events I've thrown for myself have had more attendance, even if I kick out No King's Day, right? We don't count No King's Day. Just the events I've done on my own have had more attendance than the DSA meetings I've been to. Or, like, I'll do it on my own. I'll fucking do it myself. Anyway, I just saw that Alberta is voting on a referendum in October to leave Canada. Separatist. Is there like a legitimate reason, or is it just like Texas? They have like their own like power grid like Texas. That's all I really wanted to yap about. I didn't want to cover much news. That's why I didn't pull up Philly, and I scarfed my dinner down before I got on. That's not how I. Now, this will probably be loud when it comes on, so I apologize. Oh. Sure. Think there's anything else to go over. Like, I feel like I was gone for so long and yet nothing happened. I downloaded the second one. Well, I updated it. But I'll get to that one when I get to it. I don't remember what I was doing last time, so I'm just going to start all over. Alberta is feeling like the politics in Ontario are not benefiting Alberta, mainly because they refuse to drill, and it is hurting the Albertan economy from the sounds of it. Sounds like Texas. I mean, Texas isn't hurting from the lack of drilling. But I don't think... I don't know. I already have Slime Rancher 2. New game. A. Charlie. Yeehaw. Yeehaw. I really like y'all as a gender neutral pronoun. I think that's just so fun. Also, partner. Partners are great. I get the little squeaks, they just get me. They hit that right dopamine button. Adventure.
Your underscore pal underscore blue 69 says, y'all are my best friends.
Y'all are my best friends. Blue, we love you. You have been invited to the cookout. 1,000 light years away from Earth on a planet known as the Far Far Range, Beatrix LeBeau begins her first day as a slime rancher. Yep, we're moving. We're moving, and we're giving that good suck. In the cage. Oh, that's the wrong button. Okay. Suck is left, right. Jump. I don't want to free range my chickens. That poop. Thank you. It seems to be a common thing in a lot of Canada where policies are more focused around for Ontario and the eastern half of Canada and not much of the western half. That can be annoying. Because you're not fulfilling the needs of all your... Get over here. Your constituents. I can see how it's frustrating. There's a vegetable back here. They can make me feed them. Fruit. I do enjoy shooting them with the fruit. Well, with the food, I guess. They're just so fun. And, like, you can shoot them into the sea, and presumably they don't die because the sea is made of slime. So, like, if anything, it's just a big cycle of reincarnation. I can't wait till you guys see them. Anyway, this is my house. I will be decorating it. That will not activate till tomorrow. Alright, so there's these things that are notes, right? They're little notes around the map. And they say stuff when I hit the right button, but you have to read it. I'm gonna read it. I apologize. Hello, Beatrix. The name is Hobson Twigglers? Twilgers? Rancher, explorer, and former owner of this here ranch you now call your own. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I was a rancher for more years. The H is throwing me off in the background. Then I can remember and felt there was one last adventure left in me, so I set off to find just that. But before I go, I'm taking one last tour around here, this here land that I love, so keep your peepers peeled for notes like these if you want to hear what an old coot has to say every now and again. These are fun little notes. Alright, so right now the biggest priority is making the money. Because we're going to exploit this capitalist system very quickly. I also get messages from home, but I'll read those at some point. I don't want you. I do want you. Going to range. Is what I need is a slime that will give double hearts on a... Okay, so when slime eats... A slime eats something it likes, which is its favorite food. It will, it will poop out twice. And when it poops out twice, you get double the money. And so you can also mix slimes and get 4 plorts instead of 2. So, like, when I shoot this plort... Oh, okay, he's gonna eat that. He's gonna eat that. You guys are embarrassing me. Okay, he ate it. He ate the pink one, so he became part pink slimy, part rock slimy. So this means if he eats his favorite food, he will poop out 1 blue and 1 pink, or 2 blue and 2 pink. And what's good about that is if you can kind of stagnant. You're manipulating the stock market. What I'm doing is manipulating the stock market. And also, there's like a whole, like, every plort and every slimy and every food has their own back, like, page. That's my flashlight. Slimepedia. And so, like, while it tells you all about, like, the slimes and their diets, it also tells you what their plorts are used for. And, like, you can learn about each of... Like, there are some of these plorts that are used for, like, giving people unlimited drinking water, or, mining, like, very rare elements, or using them for, like, tanks. So, it's really cool. But the pink ones, they'll just eat fucking everything, man. I don't know why I'm rushing through this. I don't need... It's not like I'm on a time crunch. Ugh. They eat those chickens. I feel like I'm a little too, like, quick. Might need to slow something. Okay, so right now, pink plorts are at a baseline of 9. Rock plorts are at 23. Tabbies are up to 26 right now, so that's a high. And these guys are at 27, and then all the other ones... Oh, they did finally... Usually they don't reveal these ones until after you've found the creature or been in the proximity of it. But... Right, so right now... Hey, I'm here, by the way, just working on stuff. You're good. How's your spinach? So, also with every time that you... This changes daily in the game daily. It changes over at, I think, 2100 hours. And you will get different prices each day. And the amount that you put in could increase or decrease the value of that particular plort the next time it changes. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's really drastic. Like, especially for these more expensive plorts, we will see, like, this one's down to 64. When it should be, like, way higher up. We're gonna manipulate the system pretty quickly around here. And And I don't want to... Oh, they got out and ate my chickens. Okay, I don't want to leave these guys here to suffer. I will need that. And because their plorts are kind of trash. They're like bottom rung. I will be chucking them as fast as possible. There's 2 things I need to get onto the ranch. I need to make one of those little houses, one of these guys, corrals, into one that can support fireflies. Firefly zombies. Slimies? They're called. Phosphor slimies. But you need to be able to make that like dark to block the sun. And also put a lid on it because they can fly. How much is a solar shield? $4.25. How much is a lid? Also $4.25. All right. Start with that. Now I need to make $400. God, I love how pretty this game is. Am I basically like someone who specializes in waste management at this point? Like, is that my job? Oh, sometimes they do stand on each other. Sometimes they'll even make like stacks. Like really tall ones. And phosphor slimy eat a very specific berry. Cube berry? Oh, there's also tabby slimies. Ow. You know what? Come here. I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna merge the tabby slimy with the phosphor slimy. Right, cosmetic changes. Yes. No, stop hurting me. Come on. Look, I just need like one more of each of you. Okay. Oh, those are tar. That's what happens when a slime that not gonna work. When a slime eats more than one other creature's wort, they go all mutated. Ah! And then they attack me! I don't have anything to shoot them away. I kind of just have to run. I was hoping for one more, like, phosphorus slime. I don't have a water tank. Oh my god, I almost fell off the cliff. Thank you. And get the cube berries. Guess I gotta go back. Ow! Ow! This was a mistake. Oh, this was definitely a mistake. Oh god. Cool. Oh, that's a cliff. Almost ran right off the cliff. Oh, I could. Oh, look, the moon's a slime. Well, it's like a slime face. I hear a bunny slime, but I don't have anything to shoot it with. I don't have any meat. Now we're in cozy mode. Yeah, so this will change over, I think. Soon. I also did not get enough money. He will fly right out of that. What it's gonna change to. See what's gonna best to go scoop up. No, I have mail I need to. Okay. So that's down to 6. But phosphor plorts, all the other plorts are up. So I'll keep an eye out on those while I'm running around. Sleep in this game, you don't have to. It's not the worst idea. Alright, I'm ignoring you. I need... Yep. Oh. Nope, didn't work. No, my plort! Damn it. I knew I couldn't get it. I have to shoot, like, I think carrots or meat. I don't remember. I think it is a chicken. No! No! Fuck! Fuck! No! 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 I just want the tabby! Oh my god. Thank god I only need one freaking cube berry. Jeez Louise. Oh, why do I... Oh. Look. Or plum. The big problem is, though, is that when you free range, they all start starving to death. Although there's a bunch of fruit up here.
Christ, there's a boomer around here.
What'd I do now, Dorothy? What, am I muted? Taking care of starving people? No, never. What kind of hippie shit is that? Wouldn't you like to know, Grandpa? Berries also grow here. I'm tired of this. Oh. Okay, so there's these guys over here. These guys are Gordos. You gotta feed them a bunch of food to make them explode. 45 streams in a row. Aren't you close to like a resub? And also, if you're not already subscribed, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Help support your favorite lame-ass streamer. Anyway, if you feed them their favorite food, it decreases the amount of food needed to make it explode. And sometimes they have keys, and sometimes they have other stuff. And these we can unlock when we get a certain thing. The treasure pod. Where is the phosphorus poop? See, I could go over here.
Almost heaven,
Called it.
West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze. Country roads, take me home to the rain.
I love that I can just make that my sound.
West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country road.
Oh, heartbeats.
Dorfidoodle
Fuck.
just subscribed with Prime.
Fuck. I shot the wrong one. I need those heartbeats. I died. I died? I've never died in... Okay, I fell into the water before, but I've never gotten kirked like that. Alright, what's the star mail we got? So, Miss LeBeau, 7Z's Corporation would like to welcome you to the Far Far Range. Welcome. We extend our support in your bold new venture as a slime rancher. Support extended. We would also like to request that you exercise caution in your first few days on the range until you get more familiar with your surroundings. Traveling at night is not advisable. Lastly, should you require any additional tools for your backpack or items to make your slime ranching experience easier, the 7Z's Corporation would be pleased to provide them to you from the shop located just outside your ranch. Capitalism. 7Z's Corporation providing the tools you need to get the job done for us for a small fee. Secret Styles, Miss LeBeau. What if we told you that the 7Z's Corporation has developed technology called Secret Styles? that allows slimes to express themselves and show off their inner beauty as they saw it? If you've answered that question, please know that we cannot hear you as you are reading Star Mail on a visual display unit. However, we will proceed as if you are excited. We are so happy you are excited. Unfortunately, the cargo ship containing these secret styles exploded for completely unknown reasons and just left them all over the far, far range. Please stay excited. 7Z's Corporation is proud to announce that the secret styles for slimes are now available in unknown whereabouts throughout the far, far range. Please find them and test them. 7Z's Corporation, turning decisions, door boom plorts. Boom plorts. Next to fire plorts in cargo holds in glorious treasure hunts for ranch, one cover up at a time. From Casey. Hey, Bay. B? Bay? Laboo? Labay? What's it like to sleep for a whole year? Did you dream? I can't imagine what it's like. 7Z's puts you in a pod and then lights out for you for all that time. Wow. What's the far, far range like? Have you started exploring? Is the air as clean as they say? I bet it's really beautiful. I'm probably asking too many questions. I bet you have a lot of work to do on the ranch. I still can't believe it's yours now. I guess I better leave you to it and just keep it short. Good luck, Bay. If anyone can make it out there, it's you. Then Thor West. Hi there, Beatrix. My name is Thor West. I'll keep my introduction short on account that we all got work to do. I'm a longtime rancher here on the Far Far Range and head of the welcome wagon for your local Range Exchange. The Range Exchange is a network of ranchers just like yourself who are looking to trade what they got for what they need. Slimes, plorts, food, whatever. All you need to do is check out the Range Exchange machine daily to be sure you get your trade completed within 24 hours. As more ranchers get added to your network, you should receive a hearty hello from them, so check your inbox. Well, enough jawing? It's like John from Philly. John. We've both got some slimes to wrangle. I believe I died. All of my hard work. The crunches. There's a Gordo down there that I could load. Kind of just get a key. Maybe. They ate all the food. Those will be fairly. It's funny, they'll eat other slimes' poop, but they won't eat their own poop. Get it? So, I think he needs 30 food? I don't remember, it's been so long. So cute. But because he's a pink slime, like, He's not gonna give you... food won't count for double for anything. Might as well grab these chickens. Oh, sorry, hens. Oh! Get away from her! I dodged that one. I'm gonna sell these plorts. Back for those. Hit 3. Perfect. Well, since the phosphorus, I guess I'm still gonna need that air net. Like, regardless, especially with that height. I was just thinking maybe, like, I don't need the air net, but I do. Not that I'm gonna get it. Oh, when did Pink... Oh, because I died! Oh, that's right! Jeez. Maybe I should just pick up a bunch of the chickens and fire them off into here. I can't get any more pogo fruit. Ow. Oh, some of these are gonna be beets. Beets are actually a good idea. Gonna need the... Whoop. Ow. Jeez, they're all over the place. Oh yeah, I can't pick up water. Getting there. Music is so relaxing. Oh, chicken! 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 Ah! No! Got it. Bam! That means this one's gonna turn soon, too. Okay. a box. Pink ones are the worst. No! No! Get away from my chicken. Oh, don't walk by it. Oh. Yeah. No, get away from my carrots. Monsters. Oh, yes. Okay, so heartbeats are the rock slime's favorite food. And the rock slimes are super easy to take care of, so like you can mix them with pretty much any base. I thought I saw a shiny thing. I'm a magpie. Oh, they're just glittering now? Oh, look. See, they're like speckly now. Or glittery, I guess. But anyway, heartbeats are really good. There goes the rock slimy. Well, on that note, Oonk. Oh, if I mix it with the rock slimies too, I don't have to commit to a protein, which is one of the rougher things to have to feed things. Like, a lot of the cat slimies, of course, eat, the burbs. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna just free range some chickens. Okay. Here. Now you have a roof over your head. How much for a garden plot? $250? Capitalism. It just like ran into that wall. Alright. If I can scoop up some more rock slimies, that'll be cool. Mostly I'm gonna focus on trying to make $250. I guess they're... I don't know what the money is. No coins? I don't know. Oh yeah, the way you learn things is by sucking them up. It's up here kind of lonely. Oh, a phosphor slime. Excellent. Oh, wait, no. Thank you. Don't need this carrot. Thank you. Oh. Yeah, okay. 2 rocks, 2 phosphor. Yeah. The phosphorus disappear and the sun comes up, they pop. It's quite dramatic. Not gonna be nearly enough. Do I want to be a monster? That one that ran away from me gets to stay. He's the only one smart enough. Oh, I forgot I can dash. Yes. Thank you. I'm hearing them poop. Fuck. Oh no. Oh god. Oh yeah, they've overrun that place. Guess maybe this one will have blue. Ow. Oh, I ran right into that one. Oh. I don't think the value is high enough to get where I need to go for the. Don't think there was any fruit still left in that corral. Pardon. $50, $500. Okay, so guys, there's a trick with the farming plots. I know, there's always a trick with something. What you do is your first crop will always grow the fastest, regardless of the nutrients you have on the soil. See, you can tell because these are already starting to, like, you can see them, not just their leaves. Like this one you see leaf, but like the other ones you actually start seeing like the heart part of it. So your first round will always plant or produce the fastest. So what you do is harvest all of them, you remove the crop, replant the crop from scratch versus just letting it. I think this will take like half the time. Is. Definitely bigger. Those guys are gonna. feel like I gotta find them like something quick to eat to hold the floor until it's ready. Oh! No! No! Oh! Should have looked at the plort. Son of a bitch. So cute. Gradient. I don't know anything. I guess you'll eat them. $7:30. Okay, rock floor. So, what do you do? Ready? Activate. Crop. Fire one in. No. wanted. Oh, hey, wait a minute. You! What are you doing? Oh boy. Oh boy. Get taller. I feel like they're a little. Let's go. Ben's. These guys should be happy for. That's gonna go grow. I have a key. And I need more slimies. I'm gonna need 3 slimies. Probably shouldn't get them yet. Oh, we'll see. I have an idea of what I want to do. Ow. Ow. This entire cave system was sealed off from a cave-in when I first discovered it. Maybe that's why the fellas up ahead are so grumpy. Haven't had a bite in a long time. In any case, don't let that long-awaited bite come from your own from your own rump. Bring some food to calm them down. I will not be doing. Worry. I was always happiest when I was by my lonesome. Places like this old quarry really suited me. Nice and quiet and mostly empty. So I figured that life on the far, far range would suit me just as well. And, well, wouldn't you know it? I come all this way and the first person I see, well, she changed how I saw things, I guess. Quiet wasn't good anymore. I liked her laugh. Boom, slimy. Ow. Oh, oh. I'm gonna just... This guy has a teleporter underneath of him. I need the heartbeats. Too short. These are odd onions and aka aka. They're like a favorite food for a lot of the creatures around here. That's what the boom slimies do. These are stony chicks, stony hens, and they're like a favorite of tabby slimes, I think. Thought there was a box up here. Well, that looks awful. Oh! I just want to see if he was okay. He was all... Why is lonesome? Oh, right. I need the booster pack to get over here, not the shoes. These are puddle slimes. No. They produce water and you don't have to like feed them. They're self-sustaining. You can have 4 per pond. Anything more and they get bashful. Wait, I saw some harpies. Can I just... You know what? Those are just carrots. It's okay. I don't need them. I love that he sits there with his mouth open like, treats, please. I mean, same. pond would be a good idea. You can't feed anything water plorts. They won't turn into anything. And you can't feed water slimies plorts either. Do anything. But their plorts are 70 a plort. They're adorable. Keep mixing up suck and fire. Suck and blow. I think they produce 4 plorts a day. Will I make it there in time? Nice. I want to see how much they go down by. Wow. Water slimy went down to 63. Phosphor slimy down to 25. Rock slimy down to 16. Take it. Hold on. I seem to be 25 plorts short. More health would be pretty okay. I don't know if I need it that fast. Tank booster would be good if I want to sell more, but I'm not really collecting my max yet. I kind of want to take a pause. That's where I make take a stretch break. Snack break. Oh wait, no Kings is messaging me. Wait a minute, what? This is the most lib fucking coded thing I've ever read in my life. Oh my god. Quiet, Slime Rancher. Hold on. On Sunday, June 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the No Kings Coalition is partnering with the Committee for the First Amendment to create a massive night of localized relational organizing. Wow. Across the country, anchored by Rise Up, Sing Out, a concert for the First Amendment featuring Jane Fonda, Patti Smith, Bette Midler, Rufus Wainwright, and many others. It's like they want to do Woodstock, and it's like, stop trying to make Woodstock happen. While President Trump stages his UFC distraction, isn't his birthday like the 14th? We'll be building something real, community, creativity, and the collective power in neighborhoods everywhere. June 14th is like 2 weeks away. What the fuck are we talking about here? In Pride Month? Street mobilization show our numbers, and these actions on June 14th will continue to build local infrastructure we need to win. This night converts protest energy into durable power of local relationships. I don't understand. It's just, you just live stream this concert for your community? When thousands of these gatherings happen on the same night, we're not just hosting watch parties. Keep reading, Charlie. We're strengthening our networks into durable movements prepared to defend the right of our communities through the midterms, term elections, and beyond. This is more than a watch party. June 14th is about transforming energy into the streets into sustainable local organizing. Wait, did I double back? It's a critical opportunity to deepen relationships within your group, recruit new members, and build momentum for the fights ahead of the midterm elections. We created a comprehensive toolkit here, and it's a bunch of links. Whether it's 5 people in your living room or 500 in a community center, your event matters. Together, we're building a long-term collective necessary to create our communities and to protect our communities. Sorry. Great. I don't know where that came from. And send a clear message: in this country, we have no kings. Lame as shit. Alright. I want to take like a, I don't know, however long it's going to take me to go inside and get a snack and come back break. I'm going to throw up some music. Cavern Day. Anyway, I'll be right back. Play. I'm back. And because I'm gonna munch, I'm gonna switch to just chatting. I do need to save my game. Sorry it took so long. I poured myself some apple juice, and it was moldy. I had to dump it out and get a whole new glass. Oh, oops. Sorry. Forgot to switch back. All right, I was gonna throw on the news. I have fruit punch and these gummies. They're called Sour Schmacks. Joyride. I don't know. They look like Sour Patch Kids, and I was like, I like Sour Patch Kids. Let's go. Let's try this. Let's throw up Philly D. Philly D even posted today? Wish they would put things like I know on here it does, but on my TV it's in like some random order that I never understand. I'm still holding these next to my face. Fill up. Oh, right. I You know how like sometimes you preview something when you leave your phone open? It just kind of played for me and then I clicked through it by like when instead of clicking back I clicked into the middle of it. Anyway, we're news chatting now.
SpaceX may be about to go public in what may be the biggest IPO in history, valuing the company at up to $2 trillion and making Elon Musk a certified world's first trillionaire. And the pitch to investors? Essentially, trust him with building a self-sustaining city on Mars with 1 million people in it. But there's really a lot going on here. So we're going to walk through this step by step and, talk about exactly why this pitch is one of the most ambitious, or depending on how you look at it, most absurd propositions in the history of public markets. Where people will most likely be able to start buying shares of the company around the middle of next month. And I mean, we're talking upwards of $75 billion in new funding. So it'll push the company to $1.5 to $2 trillion. Elon Musk's net worth probably going to go from over $800 billion to between $1.4 and $1.6 trillion. And SpaceX, they're going to need the money because while its revenue is up, its costs are also up even more. So it lost nearly $5 billion last year, with most of those losses coming from its space and AI products, especially since it merged with XAI. In fact, at least for right now, the only profitable part of SpaceX is internet connectivity, which means it's Starlink satellites. But when the company actually released its prospectus for investors last week, the pitch was like, hey, give us your money so we can just double down on all the stuff that's not profitable right now. And in what many have called an absolutely fantastical claim, it's projected that the market for all of its products would be about $28.5 trillion, which is almost the entire US economy equivalent. And nearly $23 trillion
Wow.
of that is enterprise computing, which basically means data
Money is fake.
centers in space. Or with Elon's pitch being that by putting them in orbit, they can feed off the limitless energy of the sun and exploit the free cooling potential of the vacuum of space, which some support, though that's an idea that's also been criticized by skeptics who point out that it is actually surprisingly hard to cool a hot object in space, even though the background temperature is insanely cold. It has to do with the way that heat travels through a vacuum. And I'm not going to get too deep into it, but the point is that a normally sized data center would require millions of square meters of panels, which is then why you have places like The Telegraph calling it an absurd proposition, as well as the Wall Street Journal noting that the company's prospectus is full of so many red flags that it would have scuttled other launches. And those including not just the massive bet on AI, but also the, quote, incestuous transactions between Elon's companies, such as the $131 million worth of Cybertrucks that SpaceX bought. Plus, the company itself acknowledges that its growth, its operations, its entire vision is dependent on a single 54-year-old man, much of whose time is occupied running several other huge companies. So if Elon dies, he falls ill, or just has a spiritual epiphany and he decides to live the rest of his life in a cave, that ship's going to be left without without a captain. But also, as long as he's at the helm, Elon's got 85% of the company's voting power even after the IPO. And for many investors, that concentration of authority in his hands alone is not just a risk, it's the biggest appeal. Because Elon, yes, he has gotten this far on a staggering amount of real world success for sure. But also, whatever you feel about the man, you cannot deny the influence of his, we'll call it, vibes. Right, to many of his supporters, he has built this image as the guy who can accomplish literally anything through sheer force of will and personality, even if it seems impossible. And that faith in his singular abilities, it's evident in this IPO too. Right, Elon, he doesn't get the huge pay package worth $600 to $800 billion unless SpaceX meets two very ambitious conditions. One, reach a total market valuation of $7.5 trillion, and two, establish a permanent human colony on Mars with at least 1 million inhabitants. In fact, the prospectus even featured an artistic rendering of a life on Mars that looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. And when you think of a colony on Mars, you might imagine something like a modern city with high-rise towers encased in a big glass dome. But also, if you stop to actually think about how that would work, you kind of quickly realize that it feels ridiculous. Or just off the bat, you'd have to build it, which would be a massive feat of off-world engineering, unlike really anything humanity's ever done before. Then you've got to keep that thing tightly sealed or else everyone dies. Then you have to somehow keep meteorites and other space debris from punching holes in it. Then you have to shield the whole thing from space radiation, since Mars has an atmosphere 1% as thick as Earth's and there's no magnetosphere. Then you have to endure the wild temperature swings on the outside, which goes from plus 70 degrees to minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit at the equator and as cold as minus 200 degrees at the poles in winter. Then you have to pressurize the inside of the dome, which could threaten the structural integrity of the whole thing that you spent so long building. And then, and only then, can you focus on the basics like clean water, air, food, medicine, energy, equipment, healthy people, and a functional government. All of which, are things that any Martian colony will have to sort out whether it's a dome or not. And so to deal with some of these problems, you have many experts proposing either burying the habitat underground or covering it in several meters of Martian soil known as regolith. And regolith, notably, isn't like soil on Earth, right? It's dead, it's made up of broken rocks and dust and as sharp particles that could create microscopic tears in spacesuits. Plus, about 1% of it is perchlorates, right? That's a class of chemicals that are only found in trace amounts on Earth and will interfere with your hormones produced by your thyroid. So if you inhale that, you've potentially got a problem, especially if you're hoping to make space babies in the long run. Also, if Martian regolith is anything like lunar regolith, which scientists expect that it would be in that respect, it will be electrically charged, meaning that it will cling to equipment in spacesuits like fresh laundry. So they need to figure out how to keep astronauts from tracking it into the habitat, right? And there are some ideas, for example, designing dust-repellent spacesuits or specialized rooms that clean you up before you go back inside. So assuming we take care of that, the regolith could provide decent protection against radiation, unless, of course, one of the planet's frequent dust storms blows it away, which is one of the reasons people have proposed packing it in sandbags or baking it into bricks. But then also choosing the best solution here would be easier if we had solid data on the effects of deep space radiation, which right now we don't. The only people who have been to space for months at a time were on the ISS, and that's shielded by the Earth's magnetosphere. The journey to Mars alone, that's 6 months right now. Then at least you have 2 years before Mars and Earth's orbits align again, and presumably 6 months back. But that's not even the worst potential health concern, right? Another huge one is that Mars only has about 40% of the gravity that we take for granted here on Earth. Well, obviously, nobody's been up there to let us know what that does to the human body. We do have some idea from the 0% gravity on the ISS. Most notably, deterioration of bone density and muscle mass. And once again, if you are making space babies, we really just don't know what that'll do to them as they grow and develop. Then that's also not the end of it, right? Without gravity, all the fluid in your body drifts upward from your legs to your head. It causes what's informally known as puffy head chicken leg syndrome. But then also, there's the business of actually living. And if you're gonna be there for a minimum 2-year stretch,
Is
you'll
that is that what Hassan has?
need to know how to grow your own food, distill your own water, pump your own air, right? Unlike on Earth, Martians won't have rich brown soil to work with. Instead, they'll have to make do with the dead regolith, which will have to be thoroughly cleansed to get rid of the poisonous perchlorates. Then they'll need to add nutrients, water, and microbes, and even then, the plants probably won't turn out great. And then on top of all that, the greenhouse needs light, which is in short supply on Mars. The planet's distance from the sun and its frequent dust storms mean a colony would require artificial light, which requires a lot of electricity. And because there's not a ton of natural light, solar panels wouldn't be very efficient, and you need to make many, many square miles of them. Plus, the dust storms, meteorite strikes, wild temperatures, intense radiation, it's going to force colonists to venture outside for cleaning and maintenance. Then as far as other methods, fossil fuels, probably a no there. Hydropower, it's not going to work without a ton of water. Wind turbines would have to be just stupidly big to make use of the thin atmosphere there. And geothermal energy, which draws heat from deep underground, it would be a huge construction project and may not work well at the spots that are best for habitat. So that then leaves nuclear power, and as it actually turns out, the smart people, they've been working on this for a while now. And so you've got a lot of labor just to essentially stay alive, right? You've got to manage a greenhouse, run a power plant, keep the air fresh, cook and clean, and get along with each other, all while constantly exercising to keep your bones and muscles from degrading. And that's all without having even touched the colossal problem of space politics. Right? Any Martian colony, they're going to develop their own culture, their own rules, and own economic and political structures. And with that in mind, what we've seen with other company towns in history is that they tend to reflect the particular quirks of their founders. So for example, Henry Ford set up departments of sociology in his factories at Fort Landia to monitor certain behaviors that he disapproved of, like drinking and adultery. And while the quirks of a colony that is founded by an Elon Musk is to be determined, a hostility to unions would probably be chief among them. Though also because the labor mobility on Mars will be so extraordinarily low that might actually give the workers there leverage. But the company can't evict them because that would literally be murder. And it would be painfully expensive to transport more workers from Earth, which it could only do when the planet's orbits were aligned every 2 years anyway. Then also, I guess there are other factors that suggest that the balance of power might swing in the other direction. I mean, if you have a million people, some of them, they're gonna be a little crazy at least, especially in an environment like that. And with so many ways that things could go wrong, especially in a deadly way, it probably wouldn't be too hard for someone to sabotage crucial life support systems like air and water. Which is then why you've had some arguing that a colony like this would likely gravitate toward pretty intense surveillance and control over its members' behavior. And that then raises thorny questions like, what do you do with people that commit crimes? Do they have rights? Are there courts? Will there be any democratic institutions or goods and amenities rationed and shared? Or is anything transacted in a market? Well, Elon Musk, he might be able to handle technical problems. We're talking about things that are political, economic, and social. Things he has shown he loves to have a hand in and manipulate, but also he's done so with kind of a hammer. But ultimately what we're gonna see is that investors, they're gonna give him his vote of confidence next month, and he's gonna barrel ahead with these plans, I guess, at least on paper, to make life interplanetary, whether it's feasible or not. So with all that said, especially in the meantime, I'd love to know your thoughts in those comments down below. And then there's more we gotta dive into in just a minute, but first let me thank a sponsor and say, listen, I don't think that most people need another motivational quote
I changed the background.
slapped over a sunset. What I think is that they need an objective person
Oh,
to
I'm
help
still
them
in
stop
Slime
spiraling, cut
Rancher.
through the noise, and figure out what they actually want. And that's what today's sponsor, Strawberry.me, is doing for thousands of people every week. Even the most successful people in the world do not figure it out alone. They have mentors, coaches, people in their corner providing guidance, a sounding board. Lots of us wake up every single day knowing that we're capable of more, but have no idea how to get there. And I'll be honest, I was skeptical about career coaching, but having someone cut through the noise and focus on your situation, just huge for me. It starts with clarity, figuring out what you actually want, not what you think you're supposed to want. And then you identify the real obstacles and the blind spots that you can't see on your own. And then finally, you build a clear plan instead of waiting for the right moment to magically show up. So whether you want a new job, a promotion, or a full career pivot, there is a roadmap and you've got a dedicated coach supporting you the whole way. So just scan that QR code on the screen or go to strawberry.me/DeFranco to get 50% off your first session. That's strawberry.me/DeFranco. It is a game changer. But then diving right back into the news, hunger strikes, human chains, escalating anti-ICE protests, elected officials being pepper sprayed, and a governor being turned away from a facility in her own state.
Hold the line. Hold the line. We didn't escalate shit.
That's what Memorial Day weekend looked like in New Jersey this year, right? And more specifically, this whole shit show is all going down in Delaney Hall, which is an ICE detention center in New Jersey, where for at least several days there's been an
Jersey,
ongoing hunger and
baby.
labor
I was not expecting that. Where is it? Hold on.
We're from Jersey, baby. And you're not.
strike over the facility's god-awful conditions as well as the immigration system in general. You had a letter signed by 300 detainees saying that those inside were detained without warrants and that they don't have adequate legal representation, saying they're met by judges with too heavy caseloads. Sometimes they go without translators and their meetings are often canceled and delayed for months. Through this letter reading, we feel vulnerable and in a way kidnapped, detained without justification, not to mention that we are being tortured physically and psychologically due to the poor food resources provided. They then go on to say that sickness has run rampant inside, that COVID and the flu are spreading fast, right? And that those with serious conditions like HIV, cancer, diabetes, and heart problems, they're not receiving the care they need. And so for all those reasons, they launched this hunger and labor strike, with their initial demands being to close Delaney Hall and release everyone detained there. And you've seen many advocates kind of highlighting the organization that it took to get this letter out, saying that it's actually unusual and impressive, a testament to how bad things really are inside. And it was Gabriela Soto, the wife of one of the organizers on the inside, Martin Soto, who actually spread the news about the strike. She's been organizing protests outside of the facility as well, all while being several months pregnant. And the protests, they've
Let's
grown
fucking go,
substantially
man.
when word spread about the hunger strike, and then things really started heating up when ICE tried transferring Martin Soto. According to the outlet The City, Gabriela was waiting in line to visit Martin on Sunday when she noticed a man being shoved into a van. When she realized that it was actually her husband, she rushed over, saying that she and Martin were both screaming and banging on the van, her on the outside, him on the inside, with then other protesters joining her and forming a human chain around the facility to block ICE from leaving with Martin.
Lock arms! Lock arms! Somebody needs to record! Record in case there's violence!
Because a big thing to note here is that Martin Soto reportedly isn't supposed to be transferred. According to the executive director of the ACLU of New Jersey, Martin has a court order preventing his transfer to any other facility. So you've got this massive protest with the human chain preventing ICE from going anywhere, and that is also when elected officials start to show up. Right, we'll start with New Jersey Representative Rob Menendez, who came to Delaney Hall around 8
Fuck
Sunday
you,
evening for the purpose
dude.
of seeing Martin Soto for himself.
Okay, Rob Menendez takes money from APAC, guys. Like, hundreds of thousands.
As well as a general oversight visit. But rather than just getting that visit over and done with, ICE had Menendez waiting all night long. In fact, he reportedly spent the entire night pacing the fenced-in parking lot, occasionally talking to Gabriella and other advocates through the fence. And the supposed justification as to why he was being shut out reportedly shifted and changed throughout the night. First, it was because it was too late in the day. Then it was because of safety concerns regarding the protest. And according to
I hate when the worst person I know does something good.
Menendez, this just kept up despite his many suggestions for a solution. He said he offered to meet with Martin in an isolated room instead of walking to his housing unit, to speak with him over video call, or even have staff send a video of Martin giving a message to his wife. With Menendez saying at around 2 o'clock in the morning, they said no to every single thing. Now the only option is staying here to make sure that at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, they don't try to move him. And it wasn't until later that morning that they finally allowed him inside, where he reportedly found confirmation of everything that the detainees claimed in their letter. With him saying that he spoke to a lot of people on the inside, including a young woman who just wanted to go to her high school graduation, a pregnant woman who was trying to get medical care, and a man who showed him a carton of milk that had gone rancid. With him saying, I heard just desperation from so many people in there. But also, he wasn't able to meet Martin Soto because ICE had successfully gotten him transferred to a different facility. And with that, you had a DHS spokesperson saying after, quote, agitators obstructed the vehicle's path, preventing the transfer, they removed about 70 protesters and got Martin moved. And that's a serious concern that advocates have, that ICE is just going to separate those engaging in the hunger strike and spread them out to different facilities to dilute their message. Though for their part, ICE and DHS have actually denied that a hunger strike's even happening, swearing up and down that they provide, quote, 3 meals a day, clean water, clothing, bedding, showers, soap, and toiletries, and dadding. Illegal aliens also have access to phones to communicate with their family members and lawyers. Certified dietitians evaluate meals. In fact, ICE has higher detention standards than most U.S. prisons that hold actual U.S. citizens. But it also wasn't just Menendez that saw inside of that facility. Senator Andy Kim was also allowed into the building and ended up backing up what Menendez found, saying many of them raise big problems when it comes to getting medical treatment, the food being inedible, water problems.
I don't trust Andy Kim as far as I can throw him, but I respect this.
One judge has 74 cases before them just on Tuesday. This is clearly a farce of a judicial process, with them even calling for the facility to be shut down entirely. And Kim himself actually got involved in the protests outside as well, coming out to de-escalate a heated situation between protesters and
Okay, he kind of does look like he's photoshopped into that. I don't know why.
ICE agents. And also, when I say heated, I mean agents reportedly tried moving a military-style vehicle that Kim described as a tank with an armed guard towards the crowd. And it wasn't until Kim walked down and went over to support the protesters that the agents appeared to back off a little bit. But then also, soon after, they fired pepper balls and mace into the crowd, catching Kim as well.
Lean over, lean over. Yo! What the
He ended up having to sit down with the protesters to have his eyes rinsed out. And then on Monday afternoon, we saw New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill making an appearance at the protest as well. Right? And she stood in the crowd listening to people talk about their loved ones inside who weren't getting the medical care they needed, about the rotten and spoiled food, and way more. And even Sherrill saying, no matter what your immigration status is, you shouldn't
Is this the first time we've seen a governor do this?
be treated with anything less than dignity in this country. But she also wasn't able to actually see it for herself, with a spokesperson saying that she was denied entry into the facility. So with that, you had DHS pushing back, saying that Governor Sherrill's visit to Delaney Hall is nothing more than a political stunt on Memorial Day, when visitation is currently suspended due to riots outside of the facility. And actually, Sherrill was not universally loved with the crowd as well, with many protesters getting in her face about not showing up earlier in the weekend, or even jeering when she left after about an hour. So as of now, this remains a developing situation that we should definitely keep eyes on. But then as the situation with ICE, it's getting more violent, I then want to talk about something that's more on the international stage. And that, because you have the US launching all new strikes on Iran, the regime's vowing to retaliate, and Israel's now using this latest escalation as cover for an expansion of its occupation and invasion of Lebanon. And all of this is coming within 24 hours of Trump once again implying that a deal
Depressing.
to end this could be imminent. He kicked off the day yesterday claiming that negotiations with Iran were proceeding nicely, though he then added, it will only be a great deal for all or no deal at all. back to the battlefront and shooting, but bigger and stronger than ever before, and nobody wants that. Also in that post, he pushed for an expansion of the Abraham Accords, with him referring to agreements that he helped broker to normalize relations between Israel and some other countries in the region, right, with him also saying that it should be mandatory for Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and a few others, including two that already have diplomatic relations with Israel, to join. He even claimed that once a deal is struck, Iran could take part, writing, "Wow, now that would be something special. This will be the most important deal that any of these great but always in conflict countries will ever sign. Nothing in the past or in the future will surpass it." And yeah, you have many experts saying that would definitely be something special. And that's because it seems extremely unlikely that any of those other countries, let alone Iran, would be signing anytime soon, especially since it's not really clear whether there's actually been true progress on a deal to end the war. The latest U.S. proposal is reportedly focused on ending Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, with it potentially leaving some of the most contentious issues to be dealt with later. So we're talking about things including sanctions relief, the release of frozen Iranian funds, and Iran's nuclear program. You know, those little things, with the key questions on that last one being how it's going to dispose of the already highly enriched uranium and the length of any potential moratorium on enrichment. And actually with that, you had Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson claiming just yesterday, the focus of the negotiations is on ending the war, and at this stage, there is no discussion about nuclear details. So you had Trump claiming in another post that the deal being negotiated would address the nuclear issue, with him also saying it would be the exact opposite of the nuclear agreement reached under Barack Hussein Obama and the rank amateurs of his administration, which of course he called, as he has many times before, one of the worst deals ever made by the United States. Right, well, under that Obama deal, Iran turned over most of its uranium stockpile to Russia, and enrichment was capped at 3.67% for 15 years, and then Trump, on the other hand, has called for a full moratorium on enrichment for 20 years, though notably that came after having repeatedly insisted in the past that the country should never be allowed to do so, with Trump also demanding that Iran surrender its new stockpile, almost 1,000 pounds of near weapons-grade uranium acquired since he pulled out of the Obama deal, to the United States. And now he's ever so slightly walked back that demand as well, with him saying in yet another post yesterday that an alternative would be for Iran to destroy the material, with the Atomic Energy Commission, or its equivalent, being witness to this process and event. Now, notably with that, the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission actually hasn't been around since 1974, so I'm thinking that he's referring to the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is the UN nuclear watchdog. So for the sake of moving forward, we'll just assume that it was that. But Trump's ramblings about, what's going to come when the war ends, they were also followed up with a show of force that threatened to prolong the conflict, right, with U.S. strikes reportedly targeting missile launch sites in southern Iran and boats that were trying to place mines. The military saying that their actions were in self-defense and meant to protect U.S. troops from threats posed by Iranian forces. And then as far as Iran, they claim to have shot down an American drone.
They were going to hit me
first.
first.
To turn around, something that also stands out when you consider how often that Trump's claimed that Iran's ability to defend itself has effectively been obliterated. And with that, it's important to know that even American intelligence agencies don't appear to agree with Trump. Right? They've reportedly found that Iran's regained access to most of its missile sites, launchers, and underground facilities, including 30 of 33 missile sites along the Strait of Hormuz. And that's as senior American military officials have also voiced concern about dwindling stockpiles of long-range missiles and other munitions, right, the same kind of equipment needed to destroy Iran's fortified underground missile sites. But then also with this, you have Iran's foreign ministry accusing the United States of violating the ceasefire agreement, arguing that the latest strikes undermine diplomatic efforts to end the war. Also, the Revolutionary Guard warned that the violation justified a decisive reciprocal response. And you had the Supreme Leader, whose father, of course, the previous Supreme Leader, was killed by American-Israeli strikes on the first day of the war, similarly suggested that his country would not back down, writing, "The hands of time do not turn backward, and the nations and lands of the region will no longer serve as shields for American bases. America, in addition to no longer having a safe place for aggression and military bases in the region, is moving further away from its former status day by day." Though despite all of that, you had Secretary of State Marco Rubio telling reporters that talks were still continuing. And on one hand, he said that a deal could be finalized within a few days, but then on the other hand, he left kind of the door wide open for failure.
There's going to be a deal. We're going to have to work through that. But this is, it's either going to be a good deal or there isn't going to be one.
Iran's foreign ministry spokesman also confirmed that talks were still happening, but rejected Rubio's timeline, saying it is correct to say that we have reached a conclusion on a large portion of the issues under discussion, but to say that this means the signing of an agreement is imminent, no one can make such a claim. But either way, while, these latest U.S. strikes might not have derailed peace talks entirely, recent events in Lebanon, they do have the potential to complicate negotiations. Right? And that's because Iran has said that it wants Lebanon protected in any agreement. But yesterday, you had Netanyahu announcing that Israel would instead intensify strikes on the country in response to Hezbollah's recent drone attacks, which have actually proven to be relatively effective at penetrating Israeli air defenses. So of course, like this whole thing, it is still highly asymmetrical. Hezbollah has reportedly killed 24 people in Israel, while Netanyahu claimed that Israeli forces had killed more than 600 Hezbollah fighters in recent weeks. And the overall death toll in Lebanon since early March has now reached 3,185 people, according to Lebanon's health health ministry with hundreds of thousands of people displaced. And with that, while Hezbollah claimed several attacks against Israeli troops in southern Lebanon last night, the Israeli military said that it struck more than 100 targets in the country. And today,
Yeah.
they ordered residents to evacuate one of
I'm
southern
sure.
Lebanon's largest cities and expanded its ground operations beyond the so-called Yellow Line, which is the line marking the boundary of the occupied Lebanese territory that Israel described as a buffer zone. In addition to all that, Israel's now reportedly pushing the United States to give Israel free rein in Lebanon and any proposed peace deal with Iran. With one far-right Israeli minister, the same one who went viral for his treatment of detained foreign activists, saying in a press conference yesterday, "The time has come for the prime minister to bang on Trump's desk and inform him that we are resuming the war in Lebanon. We must cut off the electricity in Lebanon, conquer more territory, and return to high-intensity warfare." And then also another far-right minister who actually said that the Trump administration is the most supportive one ever, he reportedly argued yesterday that for every drone, 10 buildings in Beirut will come down. And if there were 7, then 70. And if 15, then 150. If the buildings in Beirut run out, then we'll move on to other parts of Lebanon. So that is what he said out in the open, on camera, and it's also far from the first time that he said something like that. So the US and Iran talks, they're often kind of the main focal point. We then also cannot forget about what Netanyahu and these other political figures are doing and what's happening in Lebanon. And then there's more we gotta dive into in just a minute.
It's so
but first,
awful.
let me say,
It's like everybody's just everybody's governments are just letting this happen. There are so many regular people who think and feel the same way, that this is fucked up and this is wrong. And like the fact that everyone else is trying, like the higher ups are just trying to pretend like, no, this is okay. Like we're allowed to do this. It's like, this fucked up. It's wrong. And it's disgusting. Like, when are the other nations going to do anything? Because clearly the United States won't. Like, is anybody going to grow a fucking pair of balls?
you know, with the Crashing Out tour coming up, I already know that there's going to be late nights, after show drinks, travel, and mornings where I still need to function like a responsible adult. And that is exactly why I'll be bringing today's sponsor, ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic, with me. But this isn't one of those drink more water and manifest wellness type fixes. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. And how it works is when you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut, and it's a buildup of this byproduct, not just dehydration, that's to blame for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break that byproduct down. So just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. So yeah, when the show wraps and the night keeps going, ZBiotics is going to be my first drink. And for everyone, May is packed with so many other reasons to be out there. Games, weddings, everything in between. So do not let the next morning slow you down. Just go to
comfortable tonight.
zbiotics.com/DeFranco and use code DeFranco for 15% off your first order. Or just scan the QR code and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Then diving right back into the news for our final block, more news you need to know. Let's start with Pope Leo. He just warned that AI
His shirt color change?
can lead to war. But he's put out a massive 40,000 word warning that
No.
AI can erode.
I mean, I know it was for the ad, it was a different color. I thought it was even a different color than this from before the ad.
Judgment, deepen inequality, destabilize democracy, and simulate care without real relationships. He also had concerns for AI's potential impact on workers, saying that they're just as consequential to the ones that Pope Leo warned about during the Industrial Revolution, adding that artificial intelligence needs to be disarmed, freed from the logic that turned it into an instrument of domination, exclusion, and death, saying it must be at the service of all and of the common good. And to do that, he called for more government regulation, protections for anyone whose job's threatened by AI, better educational intervention, protection for minors, and stressed that humans should remain in control of the use of weapons. Though also, I'll note that Vatican officials say that he's not fully anti-AI, he's just pro-regulation.
So this is not an all-out rebuke of artificial intelligence.
Oh, no. It's artificial intelligence is a great human achievement, but we can't renounce responsibility. That's the main point.
Right, Pope Leo, he delivered all that alongside Anthropic co-founder Christopher Olay, who's publicly taking a similar approach to the future of AI.
If this technology is coming, it must go well for our common home and for the children to come.
And notably, Anthropic's come under fire from the president for pushing back against the idea of unrestricted military use of AI, with Trump posting, "The United States of America will never allow a radical left woke company to dictate how our great military fights and wins wars." And with all this, you had Olay warning that some AI leaders, they fold under that kind of pressure, saying that the industry can fall victim to, quote, a set of incentives and constraints that can sometimes conflict with doing the right thing. And adding that we need moral voices that the incentives cannot bend, and saying that this is the start of a long collaboration between those of us who are building this and those who can see what we from the inside cannot. So you've got reports saying that this sets the Vatican up to be sort of a moral compass for the AI industry, and the Pope saying that his talks with Olay were a great sign of hope that in their differences, they can still listen to one another. But then, in other news over in Texas, the exact opposite is happening because we're about to see the full effects of Trump endorsing Ken Paxton in his runoff against incumbent Senator
That's
John Cornyn.
today.
That election's actually happening today, but some Republicans, they're kind of scared shitless that it's become so dirty that it's ultimately going to cost them control of the Senate come November. And this is now one of the most expensive primary runoffs on record. And it's gotten to the point where the chairman of the
Wait, do we know now? Texas. Right now, Paxton's lead with 20% of the votes in. Warren's the incumbent.
Texas GOP had to ask them to cut the mudslinging and focus on November. And so notably with that, right, the endorsement had already given Paxton the lead in the polls. So he pulled his attack ads to end his campaign on a more positive note, and he urged Cornyn to do the same. But kind of, long story short, Cornyn kind of said, not happening, and he plans to continue to tell the truth about Paxton in his words, saying that he wanted a few more days to burn in the fact that Paxton plea bargained with a child sex offender. And that, it kind of gives you a taste of the energy and also an idea of why the stakes are so high for Texas Republicans. Paxton, he's sitting on scandals that a lot of people say makes him a riskier candidate for the midterms. And Cornyn, he spent $50 million on ads and created a fake dating app with Paxton's alleged mistress to make sure that all of Texas knew about it. So that could risk
That's
things
fucked
in
up.
November, where the winner is going to be going up against Democrat James Tallarico, with many thinking that Tallarico is actually going to perform better against Paxton because Paxton is generally a weaker candidate, in part because of his scandals. But Cornyn is seen by a number of Republicans as too, not centrist, but more bipartisan for Texas. So while I now expect Paxton to kind of just walk through this runoff, it's going to be very telling how the people that were voting for Cornyn feel about voting in November. But then finally, I gotta mention how Ball State University now has to pay a former staffer $225,000.
Hold on. Oh, we're getting updates. Paxton's still taking it. 25% of the votes in. We'll check back momentarily.
After firing her for a post that she made about Charlie Kirk after his death. With their former health director, Suzanne Swearick, she posted, "If you think Charlie Kirk was a good person, we can't be friends," and saying that his death was a reflection of the violence, fear, and hatred he sowed. But then the university saying that the post was inconsistent with the distinctive nature and trust of her role. And this whole situation leading to Swearick and the ACLU filing their lawsuit, claiming that the university had violated her First Amendment rights. Or you had Swearick saying she had just as much right as anybody else to make the post, and adding that she doesn't regret it and still believes in what she said. So now she's just one of many that are going to get paid, since the conservative push to shame, punish, or fire professionals for any critical comments against Kirk. Right, the state of Florida, they had to pay almost $500,000 to a biologist that they fired after she posted that the whales that she worked with cared just as much about Kirk's death as he did about children being shot in classrooms. Also, a university in Tennessee, they have to pay
Okay,
out
that's a banger.
$500,000 and reinstate a tenured professor's job after firing him over reposting an article titled "Charlie Kirk Says Gun Deaths Unfortunately Worth It to Keep the Second Amendment." And then, of course, there was that retired police officer in Tennessee who was thrown in jail for more than a month after posting a meme alluding to Kirk's death, and he just got $835,000 from his lawsuit. But that, my friends, you beautiful bastards, brings us to the end of your Tuesday Philip DeFranco show. Thank you for watching today's show. If you missed last night's Philip DeFranco show, we put out a memorial.
Man, that's so funny. I know somebody who got a bunch of death threats for their Kirk comments. All right. I've been waiting all weekend to watch this with you guys. I haven't read much about the Hasanabi subpoenas other than when he said he hasn't actually gotten one yet. He's just been told through the internet that he's getting one. But Zed made a video on it and also of the autopsy, and I really wanted to watch that. So this is Zed Tabani, news YouTuber and freestyle the news. Please make me a vinyl. Zed. He does freestyle the news, which is like a wrap of the weekly news that he's gonna do. It's so good. It's always so good, and I really would like it on vinyl.
All the hell broke loose. But there are a lot of stories that I do want to cover because a lot happened this weekend. And just in case you don't know me and you're new here, hi, my name is Zed Tabani. Most of the time, I freestyle the news and give some political analysis, but I'm also a political commentator. I do music for fighting games. I'm fun. And if you like this kind of content, you should subscribe and like. things. Please subscribe, it helps. All right, first up, but my script's here, by the way. First up, right off the bat, let's talk about Hassan Piker and Cuba. Hassan Piker and Code Pink co-founder Medea Benjamin have been subpoenaed by the Trump administration's Treasury Department over their trip to Cuba earlier this year. If you don't remember, Piker, Benjamin, and several others took a trip to Cuba with the Nuestra American Convoy to bring humanitarian aid to Cuba because they're under, a blockade. 600 delegates, 120 organizations, all trying to bring aid to Cuba. So, it's not just Hassan coded. There's a lot of other people on this thing. And look, all of the people who were on this convoy were careful to only stay in hotels that were legal, and they were criticized for the price of those hotels specifically, because those are the only legal hotels they're allowed to stay in with the sanctions. And yet Piker, Benjamin, up to 40 other Americans are on the hook for what Fox News calls a Marxist convoy. All right, just FYI, there's a difference between all of those different groups, right? Marxist, communist, leftist. Like, just if you're going to criticize something, do it accurately. Anyway,
Yeah,
Piker responded,
accurate.
the American government would rather try to criminalize delivering aid to a country we've starved than punish the Epstein class. Benjamin responded, it is outrageous that the U.S. government would target people for bringing humanitarian aid to suffering Cuban children. But even more disturbing is the cruel and deeply immoral policy the United States continues to impose on Cuba, a policy designed to strangle the island economically, deprive people of food, fuel, medicine, and basic necessities, and make daily life unbearable. But pretty immediately, there was widespread backlash to this happening, as there has been with other Trump targeting of media figures. Some saying this is literally first they came for the communists. Other people saying it's a censorship campaign. Ken Klippenstein referencing the Trump admin's supposed policy of NSPM1. I think I got the acronym right. First off, from where I am standing, and I hate having to repeat this all of the time, right? I am not Hassan's buddy, okay? But I have to, the headlines keep being made. He is now the political football everybody wants to use for their own political goals. So here we the fuck are. And those people looking for that political football apparently include the Treasury Department under the Trump administration, right? Who is clearly using him in this pressure campaign. Do I think he's screwed? Probably not. It's probably going to be like a problem and stress and all of the other things that happen when Donald Trump tries to thumb his finger on the scale against critics. Do I think poking independent media in the attention economy like this actually makes independent media grow against you? Yes. Yes, I do. We'll have to wait and see what happens. For now, just let me know what you think in the comments. But for now, let's move on to Stephen Colbert's final episode. Stephen Colbert hosted his final late show on Thursday night, capping off an 11-year run after Paramount had pulled the plug for financial reasons. Yeah, okay. But look, regardless of what you feel about Colbert, the night was a pretty big, joyous one, right? He had a heartfelt monologue, tons of celebrity cameos, Bryan Cranston, Paul Rudd, Neil deGrasse Tyson, his fellow Strikeforce 5 comedians, Jon Stewart. His final guest was Paul McCartney, which was great because it is kind of like a full circle moment because the Beatles debuted on the Ed Sullivan Show. But there were even fun, tiny little bits in between, like them playing the Peanuts song to try to cost CBS money, tried and true on the way out talk show host joke. It's happened a couple times. It's funny, but the focus was very clear, right? The last conversation he had with Jon Stewart and even with the other late night hosts during this bit that was pre-recorded he did about a black hole in the studio, right? Very clearly stood as a metaphor for the incoming censorship and encroachment of the government on media and late night television in this instance. And look, we've talked about previous censorship swings from networks, like when ABC canceled Bill Maher during the Iraq War, and then he came back worse. But the cancellation of The Late Show is a little bit different. It sends a really chilling message because of the institution of that show, right? David Letterman made his bones there, right? And at the end of that bit, he had a really wonderful final musical number with Elvis Costello, and then the entirety of the theater, right, jumped in live doing Hello Goodbye with Paul McCartney. It was a really emotional tribute. And at the end of the show, Stephen and Paul go to the back, pull the lever on the studio, and the Ed Sullivan Theater becomes a snow globe, a reference to the ending of St. Elsewhere. Now, obviously, there were a lot of different tributes right after the show ended from different guests who had been on or liked Colbert quite a bit. And the next day, he appeared on Welcome to Monroe, a local cable access show with Jack White, Jeff Daniels, and Eminem. Before Colbert took over The Late Show, he'd already appeared on that local show, Welcome to Monroe, and he actually interviewed Eminem on that show too. But here's the issue. Directly after that, CBS started to issue random copyright strikes and takedown notices of the broadcast. They just went ham. They do not own the broadcast. They were fraudulently trying to get it taken down
That's fucked
everywhere
up.
they could. Now, some people have said it was a joint kind of thing between CBS and Welcome to Monroe, but still they don't own it. They can't just randomly and fraudulently copyright strike things, but apparently after outcry, they've stopped doing that. But then you had a lot of other reactions to Colbert's departure, like people criticizing him for being washed up after he got TDS, like this fucking piece of shit. Piers, nobody wants your definition of respectability. I don't think that's something we're all like striving for. You talk a lot of shit. I appreciate you actually trying to come to some understanding about what's going on in Gaza and holding people's feet to the fire, but you're fucking messy, my guy. I would maybe shut the fuck up. And then you had Donald Trump tweet this AI version of him dumping Stephen Colbert in a trash can, which is, predictable, but does the AI not make you dance better? Like, you wanted to keep that dog shit ass movement. What are
Yeah.
you doing? Like, why
That was
go
my thought too when
halfway?
I
The
saw
fuck?
it.
But the show, despite what people may tell you, had some insane ratings for a weeknight show. Okay, 6.74 million people tuned in, and then on YouTube another 10 million as of this story. So as for my take, listen, I am well aware of people feeling like Colbert is either lib, slop, and dad jokes, or like the real king of late night. Which classic comedians, why can't we have this again like the Obama era? I'm going to be very honest to both groups. I think when people talk about Stephen Colbert's place in comedy or whatever the fuck it is, they don't know ball. They don't know. I feel like we have this cutoff for where we just remember what happened or what the world was like or where anybody really came from. First off, Colbert, most of the time and most of his career, has been actively involved in progressive causes, right? Even when they might ruffle feathers on the show or against the guests. He even directly confronted guests to their face about allegations, especially during the Me Too movement. He confronted CEOs even when there were audience outbursts. He even championed causes that CBS did not want him to do so because they could possibly hurt ratings. There's also a lot misconstrued about Colbert, like when Zoran appeared on the show, right? Stephen teed up questions about Gaza in a way for a candidate to explain himself to a mass electorate, right? And their questions deliberately meant to contrast so the candidate gets to at least say his piece and get his message out, right? And people thought, oh, that's a gotcha. He's part of the Cuomo campaign. What the fuck is going on? He's a secret Zionist. I think a lot of times, frustratingly so, activism tends to look for a punching bag, even if they're aiming in the wrong direction and punching somebody who's actively with them, right? However, even if they're aiming in the wrong direction, that doesn't mean Colbert is some perfect darling. Colbert definitely trimmed down his teeth from the Colbert Report days as his tenure went on, and his jokes felt a little bit more dated and silly in a time where people wanted more sharp humor. There were a lot of lines on The Late Show that started to feel like dad jokes, which was really fucking a little disappointing from somebody who watched the Colbert Report for so long. But listen, I have a soft spot in my heart for Stephen Colbert, right? The Colbert Report and The Daily Show got me through some of the worst points in the Iraq War when Islamophobia was at its height, right? And when it was this taboo to ever say anything bad about the administration or the Iraq War or criticize conservative American media. He's one of the few people who has literally gone up to the president and just torn him a new fucking asshole, right? Right in front of his face without giving a shit. His White House Correspondents' Dinner is a fucking legendary performance. Go watch that shit. I think what CBS did was incredibly fucked up, right? Especially with the implications for Paramount and the Trump administration. But I'm kind of happy they did, because he's probably going to do something magnificently better, right? And he ended the show at number 1, which it was for the majority of its run. I think Colbert will be a little bit sharper than he was before, right? Not that the accusations of dad jokes will cease, but I think you're going to see him pull more of his old style and kind of biting humor back into things. Ready to prove people wrong without CBS holding him back. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Okay, wouldn't it be cool if he did his own YouTube channel, but he ran it like the late night show? Because they all learned lessons like during COVID. And so like it was basically like his own talk show, but like not a podcast. I don't know. I think something like that would be cool because like you could potentially make more money on YouTube than you could on regular broadcast TV.
All right, we're chugging along here. Let's move on to
Oh, wait.
the DNC.
Hold on. Hold on, autopsy. Hold on. Paxton is still in the lead with 63% of the vote and 51% of the vote in. Oops.
Autopsy. Holy shit. The DNC 2023 autopsy has been a document people have been trying to find pages for longer than the winds of winter. It's not happening, guys. It's not.
It's not. I don't think Winds of Winter is happening. If it happens, it'll be after he dies, so he doesn't have to live with the shame of it. I guarantee it.
Just let it go.
Add it to the conspiracy theory board.
Okay, just let it go. Previously, Ken Martin, head of the DNC, had said that the
I'm going to add it to the conspiracy theory board.
autopsy is useless, right? It's not going to tell us anything. It was done poorly, and that's why he didn't release it. But there was a real sneaking suspicion from a lot of people, as well as a lot of hints from insiders, that the reason that the DNC did not want it released was it implicated Kamala Harris's inadequacy at addressing Gaza, which establishment Dems and liberals did not like. Just a fair warning, right? There is data that has been publicly available since 2024 that paints a pretty distinct picture of why Kamala Harris lost the election, right? Economic concerns, frustrations with lack of distance between her and Joe Biden, publicly available data. But the data from what the autopsy should show is the origin and
Added.
what led to those mistakes. So feasibly, that could be any number of things like inflation or Gaza or so many things. Well, after CNN ended up obtaining enough information about the contents of the report, they told Martin, and he decided soon after that to release the whole thing. Finally! But with some red annotations. Now look, this report was written by Democratic strategist Paul Rivera, heavily annotated by the DNC, and we have a flash warning from Ken reading, I commissioned an after-action review of the 2024 election that I wanted to be honest and transparent, and with actionable and specific takeaways for the future of the Democratic Party. When I received the report late last year, it wasn't ready for prime time, not even close. I am begging you, just stopping real quickly, I'm begging you very quickly, never say that phrase again.
Prime time?
Ready for prime time. My guy,
yeah,
you're trying to modernize the DNC. It is not 1996, okay? Prime time no longer exists in any meaningful fucking capacity, all right? Content is all of the time. What are you doing? Anyway, and because no source material was provided, it would have been
That is the most retail, like, coded face I have ever fucking seen on a politician. Just like, oh, okay, this is what I've got to do now. All right. Like, tell me that doesn't, like, look like Geek Squad regret face.
starting over, and I could not in good faith put the DNC stamp of approval on the report that was produced. Okay, everybody saw through this. Clearly, he is lying, right? He's trying to downplay all of the revelations about Gaza and the incompetence of the liberal what the fuck? Oh my god! Oh my god! What is that? What is this, Ken? Here's the thing. Ken wasn't lying. The report is so extraordinarily bad. It is insane how bad this thing is.
It's actually kind of funny that it's like it's bad in the almost the opposite way that like everybody was kind of worried about. Like it's bad as in it's just like it's AI slop and garbage and just like total trash. Not like it's like literally saying all the worst things about the DNC. Like it is, but I don't know if I'm explaining myself right.
Yes. You know, before AI, how you would stay up all night to write a 10-page paper on a book that you did not read, so you just rented it and watched the movie, but actually you didn't really watch the movie because you fell asleep during the movie, so you just looked up the Wikipedia summary on the movie, and then you wrote 10 pages of a book report on a Wikipedia summary of a movie you never watched and a book you never read? Your report is a fucking A plus compared to whatever this dog shit is. Let's start here. And FYI, I'm taking a lot of this from Statistic Urban. Go follow them, right? Number one, doesn't mention Gaza and Palestine like at all. Like no discussion about that issue in any substantive capacity, which seems like a weird fucking omission. Leftists, take that. Hey, maybe shut up a little bit because inflation isn't mentioned either. Fucking what? Secondly, it's missing a ton of basic sections, right? It's littered with errors. Gets names wrong or misspelled, gets percentages wrong, listed Mark Robinson's vote percentage at 45% and then at 42.7%. His share was 40.1%. What the fuck, Paul?
Used to write the best papers based off of nothing.
You got it wrong twice? Doesn't
Skill.
mention Joe Biden's age
Charisma.
or his dropping out. Barely discusses immigration, elderly votes, trans people, but is obsessed with Josh Stein. Again, Statistic Urban clocked this really well. Please go follow them, right? So much of this report just compares Kamala Harris to Josh Stein, who won in North Carolina, but has some significant differences to Harris. Can you spot them? Can you? There's a point where he starts talking about Kamala Harris's underperformance with young men and then just pivots.
It's
to,
the hair,
but
right?
Stein did this. He is the shining example we should all follow. Also, again, can you notice the difference between Kamala Harris and Josh Stein? Are there any differences you think that may have played a role here? From just
Policy?
bare knowledge, just right there. Anything. Drawing a blank? Not to mention all of the conclusions
I thought it was the wedding bands were different colors.
are very basic, right?
Yeah,
Stuff
I don't
like
know. On the
male
wrong
voters
hand?
require direct engagement, and anti-Trump sentiment has its limits. But you got paid for this report, Paul. It lacks sources, has tons of typos. There was a real concern by a lot of people that it was written by AI, which as of now seems to not be the case. But this is disqualifying.
That's the color difference he's talking about, right? I swear to God, that or the fact that one of them has a tie on and the other doesn't.
Reactions everywhere. David Hogg told Politico, I mean, have you read the report? This cannot be the best person to lead us in this moment. I can think of 100 different people that could do a better job. He's talking about Ken because Ken commissioned the report from this person. Dan Pfeiffer from Pod Save America saying, it is hard to imagine anyone handling anything worse than Ken Martin handled the DNC autopsy. It was a disaster of his own making, and it's efficient evidence that he is not the right person to lead the DNC at this time. Multiple people are asking for Ken Martin to go, and then you have this fucking insane airball brick of a take from Jonathan Cohen from The Third Way. Oh, a fucking course. I think it's very clear why this report was buried, because as it says in the opening, it calls for Democrats to return to the vital center. Now I understand why a lot of very Twitter-friendly, super liberal DNC staff didn't want this to come out. Genuinely. Do you have a head injury? Is that what brought on that sequence of words in that order? I want you to just do an exercise with me, right? Just think through this with whatever brain cells that you have left and whatever that is.
Very
and
little.
Let's take Hassan Piker out of it, even though I know you're going to mention him every 10 and a half seconds.
I wasn't even.
A typo-ridden, poorly written, widely denounced and criticized report that many are frustrated, contains inaccurate facts and a lack of sourcing, and doesn't ask basic fucking important questions. A report which is now in danger of sacking the head of the DNC because of how bad it was, that says you should move to the vital center. You decided to publicize. That's the report you want backing you. You've decided to publicize that. Why the fuck does anyone look to you for advice, John?
It's awful.
You lose elections, all right? Money wins you them, you lose them. Please, I don't know, go back to just drinking in the Hamptons. You suck. As for my take, the writing for the DNC is on the wall. It is pretty clear this isn't a conspiracy problem. It is an incompetence problem. The reason people are so frustrated with the Democratic Party is because they are incompetent. The conversation about moral grandstanding is only a conversation because incompetent people keep trying to stop block it. Again, this has nothing to do with liberal versus leftist, progressive versus centrist. This is about somebody.
Democrats have needed better leadership since the 70s. I think they've needed a lot of things.
Who is not fit to do the fucking work. Even if Ken Martin was a bleeding heart.
Dorothy, write me in for your vote for Cory Booker. Write me in under Cory Booker. It may be the same fucking dinosaurs. Yeah. Write me in as Cory Booker.
Aren't leftist. This is disqualifying. What are you fucking talking about? There is a
I'm
progressive movement in the
serious.
Democratic Party that is.
I've already gotten 5 people to commit to it, and I've done it. So, like, bitch is gonna know my name. Bitch is gonna know my name, all right? He's gonna know I'm coming for him. I'm gonna get his ass out of there, out of politics. When I am done campaigning against Cory Booker, he's never gonna wish he was in politics ever, okay? Get that motherfucker out of here. Write me in. I dare you.
Moving things forward, even without the national committee involved. That takes so much fucking work, right? But you see it with multiple candidates making waves despite the poor performance from this committee. What are you doing, Ken?
He's gonna look at the vote breakdown with his vegan ass, with his bald vegan ass. Get the fuck out of here. Like, he's gonna look at the vote breakdown and he's gonna see like 10 for Charlie Taylor. And he's gonna be like, is this that bitch that broke my fax machine? Like, please, any to the gods that could listen, please. That would make my lifetime just to be a nuisance.
And the one encouraging thing is everybody fucking sees it. Everyone.
Tell everyone you know.
Maybe the midterms
vote for Charlie
will be
Taylor.
a blue wave, but maybe Republicans
Right
aren't
in.
the only people who are going to lose their job. Let me know what you think in the comments. And that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, write in Charlie Taylor. There are other. I don't want to watch Midas Touch. They're so clickbaity anymore. Is there any other news I needed to go over with you guys? I mean, James Charles is a cunt. I have no idea what went on with Cars for Kids, but I feel like, didn't John Oliver cover Cars for Kids like a few years ago? All right. Well, I think this is where I'm going to call it for the night. I will be back tomorrow. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's check on the race. Hold on. 54% of the vote in and 63% is going to Paxton. So people who are voting Republican, people who vote for Trump are voting. It's almost like more people are voting against Corin versus for Paxton. Although, wait. No, yeah. The results look quite grim for Corin. Leading in early voting was seen as key for him to withstand Paxton's expected strong showing in voters casting ballots today. But Corin is well behind in the early voting, even in most of the urban counties. Another perceived advantage from the senator. Oh my god, that's so funny. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to raid out. Don't leave. Daisy's on right now. I'll be back tomorrow with more Slime Rancher and more news. I'm going to try to get a little bit more updated, but I got a heckin' busy day tomorrow. I'm playing Wingspan with a friend. I am going to the chiropractor. I think there's like another thing after that. And then at some point, I stream. So I'm looking forward to it though. I've missed streaming. I think Daisy's still on. I know Tim's not streaming tonight. Yep. What are they doing? Oh, 007. Nice. All right, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you join the raid.